it begins with silence. Then, a slow drift of colored smoke pink, then blue rolling over an open field, the laughter of friends, the hum of a camera drone, the echo of a countdown. Someone shouts, 3, 2, 1, and the air erupts in color. For a moment, it feels pure joy captured in motion, a celebration of new life. But somewhere, between the laughter and the applause, a question lingers quietly beneath the noise. Why do we need to reveal something that will, inevitably, reveal itself? The gender reveal, once an intimate family moment, has transformed into something far grander and far stranger. A global performance? A competition for attention disguised as celebration? Entire forests have burned, drones have collided, and people have been injured in explosions, all for the sake of a spectacle designed to say one simple thing: boy or girl. It's easy to dismiss these incidents as isolated excesses, the byproduct of a few careless individuals chasing viral fame. But beneath the surface lies something deeper, almost ancient, a psychological current that connects us to our earliest ancestors. For as long as humans have existed, we have sought ritual. We have always needed to make the invisible visible, to take the chaos of life and sculpt it into meaning. Once upon a time, those rituals were simple: a whisper over a newborn child, a dance around a fire, a blessing offered to the wind. They were moments of quiet awe before the mystery of existence. Today, that fire burns in pixels and screens. The blessing is filtered, captioned, and shared. The ritual remains, but its purpose has changed. In a world where everything must be seen to exist, privacy feels like invisibility. So we reveal. We reveal not only the gender of a child, but our joy, our wealth, our belonging. The reveal becomes a symbol not of life, but of identity. It is not enough to know. Others must know that we know. Others must see that we feel. And in this digital age, emotion is not simply experienced, it is broadcast. Every moment becomes a message. Every celebration becomes a stage. Yet somewhere in that transformation, the meaning begins to dissolve. The smoke, once a symbol of life, becomes an image of performance. The laughter becomes an echo. The celebration becomes an algorithm. What we call a gender reveal is no longer a private ritual, it is a declaration of status, a demonstration of belonging within the social hierarchy of the digital world. It is the modern equivalent of ancient ceremony, except the tribe is now global, and the gods are the audience. Perhaps that is why it feels so hollow when the lights fade and the cameras stop recording. The celebration ends, but the hunger remains. The applause is short-lived, the joy fleeting. We scroll for more, searching for another spark to fill the silence. Maybe the real reason gender reveals have become so elaborate has little to do with gender at all. Perhaps what we are revealing is something much more vulnerable: the human longing to be seen, understood, remembered, to carve meaning into the infinite noise. The pink and blue smoke is only the surface. Beneath it lies a centuries-old human truth, the desire to mark life's thresholds with symbols, stories, and spectacle. A longing not just to celebrate a new life, but to remind ourselves that ours still matters. But what if the spectacle is not the problem? What if, buried in the excess, there remains a whisper of something sacred? What if, in our desperate attempts to reveal, we are simply trying to remember? The answer does not lie in rejecting ritual, but in reclaiming it. In remembering what ritual once was: a bridge between the known and the unknown, a moment where humans met the mystery with reverence rather than performance. Because perhaps the greatest tragedy of the modern reveal is not its extravagance, but its emptiness. The smoke fades, the photos are posted, and the moment that was meant to mean everything slips quietly into the feed, replaced by the next. And yet, the instinct remains. The same impulse that drove our ancestors to carve their stories into stone still drives us to press record. The same fire that lit their ceremonies now burns in the glow of our screens. The question then is not why we reveal, but what we have forgotten in the process. Maybe, somewhere in the haze of color and noise, we can rediscover the reason humans began to celebrate in the first place: not to announce, but to connect; not to impress, but to remember; not to perform life, but to feel it. Because before there was pink and blue, there was simply smoke rising from the fire of something ancient, something deeply human, waiting once again to be seen. Long before there were cameras, before hashtags and photo backdrops, there was fire. Humans gathered around it not just for warmth, but for meaning. The flickering light became a mirror for our inner world, the mystery of creation, destruction, and renewal. Around that fire, we told stories, sang songs, and performed rituals that bound us to one another and to the unknown forces that shaped our lives. Birth was one of those mysteries. It was the moment life emerged from darkness, the point where potential became flesh. Ancient tribes marked it not with explosions or balloons, but with reverence. In some early African cultures, the birth of a child was accompanied by rhythmic drumming to welcome the spirit into the world. In ancient Greece, the goddess Artemis was invoked to protect mothers in childbirth. In parts of Asia, rice was thrown to symbolize fertility and abundance. These acts were not designed for an audience, they were designed for understanding. Rituals were not about being seen. They were about connecting with something larger than oneself. The flicker of firelight, the beating of drums, the painted faces, they were all ways of taming the chaos of existence, giving it rhythm, story, and order. The anthropologist Emil Durkheim once wrote that ritual is society worshiping itself. When people gather to celebrate or mourn, they are, in a sense, reaffirming the invisible bonds that hold them together. Every culture has its ceremonies, its symbolic gestures, its sacred colors. Whether it was the blood of sacrifice or the smoke of incense, ritual turned raw emotion into shared meaning. Fast forward several millennia, and those same psychological impulses remain. Only the symbols have changed. The confetti cannon replaces the torch. The smoke bomb replaces the incense. The Instagram reel replaces the village gathering. Yet the purpose, at its core, is hauntingly similar: to make sense of life's transitions, to feel connected, to be witnessed. But something shifted in the passage from fire to fireworks. Somewhere between the sacred and the shareable, ritual lost its silence. It lost the space for contemplation. When the tribe became the audience, and the drumbeat became a soundtrack, the ritual began to change its language. Anthropologists describe ritual as both a mirror and a mask, a reflection of who we are, and a performance of who we wish to be. In ancient times, these two were inseparable. The mask of the shaman wasn't meant to deceive. It was meant to reveal. It helped the community access emotions too vast for ordinary words: fear, hope, awe. Today's gender reveals, in their own way, still carry this duality. The pink and blue smoke is both a symbol and a mask, an attempt to express the inexpressible, but also to conceal our uncertainty behind color and celebration. In the modern world, where religion has faded and tradition has thinned, the hunger for ritual hasn't disappeared. It has simply migrated. We now find meaning not in temples or shrines, but in moments of spectacle. The party, the post, the reveal, these have become our new rites of passage. They give structure to our emotional lives in a culture that has forgotten the language of the sacred. Capitalism, ever watchful of human longing, has learned to sell us substitutes. Where ancient rituals were communal, today's are commercial. The gender reveal is a perfect example. An event that began as a single symbolic cake in 2008 has become a billion-dollar industry of props, pyrotechnics, and curated experiences. But beneath the surface of consumerism, the old psychology still beats. When a couple releases blue powder into the sky, what they are really doing is not revealing a gender, but asserting a narrative, one that says, we belong, we celebrate, we matter. It's the same human impulse that once led people to carve symbols on cave walls. We are, by nature, meaning-making creatures. We cannot help but ritualize. Yet the irony of the modern ritual is that it no longer asks for belief, only for participation. You don't have to feel awe, only to post. You don't have to understand the mystery, only to perform it well. The ritual has become detached from its emotional roots, drifting in the vast space between authenticity and advertisement. Still, there's a strange beauty in that persistence. Even stripped of sacredness, the instinct to ritualize shows that the human psyche still resists chaos. It still seeks rhythm and pattern. In every confetti cannon, in every carefully staged reveal, there echoes an ancient desire to bring order to uncertainty, to transform the fear of the unknown into something celebratory. We may laugh at the absurdity of pink and blue explosions, but those colors are descendants of older symbols, the blood and fire of our ancestors, the fertile earth and open sky. What we see today as novelty is in truth, continuity, and perhaps that's what makes it so haunting. We have evolved beyond the cave and the temple, but not beyond the need for ritual. We still burn our fires, only now they burn in pixels. We still seek the blessing of the tribe, only now the tribe is digital, and its approval comes in the form of hearts and comments. So when the smoke clears and the likes fade, what remains? Perhaps only the echo of that ancient fire, the reminder that every reveal, every ritual, every moment of spectacle is an attempt to make meaning out of existence. And it is that search for meaning, not the colors, not the party, not the post, that truly defines us as human. Every ritual hides a confession. Beneath the colors, the laughter, the spectacle, there lies a quiet truth about who we are and what we fear. The gender reveal, despite its glitter and smoke, is not merely about a child's identity, it's about our own. It exposes something far more intimate, the psychology of our need to define, to categorize, and to control. At its core, every reveal begins with uncertainty. Before the ultrasound, the parents live in a suspended world between two possibilities. That in-between state, that liminal space, is uncomfortable. Human beings have always feared the undefined. We crave closure, labels, and clarity. The reveal, then, offers relief. The question is answered. The unknown becomes known, and in that moment, we feel a rush of certainty, a reclaiming of control in a universe that rarely offers it. Psychologists call this cognitive closure, the tendency to seek firm answers and reject ambiguity. It is a deep evolutionary instinct, a mechanism that allows us to feel safe in an unpredictable world. By painting life in pink or blue, we symbolically impose order upon the chaos. The colors may seem trivial, but they perform a profound psychological function. They anchor us to a sense of certainty. But what if this need for definition is not just about the child, but about us? Parents, often unknowingly, project fragments of their own identity onto their unborn children. We imagine their future personalities, their interests, even their struggles, long before they take their first breath. It is a way of continuing our story through theirs. The child becomes an extension of the self, a mirror through which we attempt to rewrite, or perfect, our own narrative. The psychoanalyst Carl Jung believed that humans project their unconscious selves onto others to understand parts of their psyche they cannot face directly. The unborn child, unseen and mysterious, becomes the perfect canvas for these projections. When a parent bursts blue smoke into the sky, they are not just revealing a boy. They are revealing the hopes, archetypes, and cultural scripts tied to what that color means. Strength, independence, bravery. When they reveal pink, they reveal a different story. Gentleness, beauty, nurture. These associations are not biological truths, but symbolic constructs built over centuries of social conditioning. The ritual, then, is less about the baby's gender and more about society's story of gender, a narrative we have inherited, rarely questioned, and continue to reenact with every celebration. The reveal becomes a psychological mirror reflecting not who the child is, but who we believe they should be. Sociologists like Irving Goffman describe human life as a series of performances. We play roles: parent, partner, citizen, and those roles are shaped by cultural expectations. The gender reveal is one such stage, where parents perform the role of the joyful creator, crafting not only a child but an identity for themselves. The event is not simply for others, it is a performance for the self, a reaffirmation that we are living the script society has handed us. And yet, there is tension here. Beneath the joy lies a quiet unease. Why does something so personal need validation from others? Why do we document it, share it, amplify it? Because, at some level, we fear invisibility. In an era defined by constant comparison, every life event becomes a measurement of happiness, success, belonging. The reveal is not just about the baby's future, it's about proving to ourselves and to others that our lives are meaningful, that our story matters. Erich Fromm, the philosopher and social psychologist, once wrote that modern humans have traded authentic being for social approval. We no longer simply live, we perform. We no longer seek truth, we seek recognition. In this light, the gender reveal is both beautiful and tragic. Beautiful because it expresses our innate desire to connect, and tragic because that connection has been outsourced to an audience. But beyond social validation, the gender reveal also satisfies a subtler need: the illusion of control. Life, at its essence, is unpredictable. We cannot control the child's destiny, health, or happiness, but we can control the narrative around their beginning. The reveal gives structure to uncertainty. It says, here is the story. Here is how it begins. Even if the story is painted in arbitrary colors, it still feels like order. Durkheim saw rituals as society's way of confronting the infinite, of turning existential chaos into symbolic certainty. In ancient times, rituals tamed the unknown by invoking gods. In the modern world, we tame it with color palettes and countdowns. The sacred has become aesthetic, but the psychological mechanism remains the same. We reveal because we cannot bear not to, yet there is something fragile about this pursuit. For all its color and noise, the reveal is a moment built on a paradox. It pretends to expose truth, yet it conceals more than it reveals. It hides the complexity of human identity behind the simplicity of hue. It transforms mystery into commodity, ritual into content. Still, the impulse behind it is not wrong. It is profoundly human. We reveal because we want to participate in the story of life. We want to transform fear into celebration, uncertainty into joy. The tragedy is not that we reveal, but that we forget why we do. The modern reveal asks the wrong question, boy or girl. The deeper question, the one we are really trying to answer, is who are we in the face of creation? When we bring new life into the world, what are we truly revealing? Our love, our fear, or our reflection? Perhaps the answer lies somewhere in between. Perhaps the reveal is not about gender, not about color, but about the timeless human need to find ourselves in the act of creation. To declare, in one symbolic burst of smoke, that we were here, that we felt something, that we dared to celebrate life even when we did not fully understand it. Because in the end, every reveal is a confession of our longing to make the invisible visible, to give shape to the unknown, to reveal not just the child's identity, but our own humanity. Somewhere between the smoke and the spectacle, between the applause and the algorithm, the essence of celebration has been lost. What once began as an intimate moment of wonder has become a contest of creativity measured in views and reactions. Yet even in this cacophony of modern life, there remains the possibility of rediscovery, to find again what our ancestors knew instinctively. That ritual, when done with sincerity, can transform a fleeting moment into timeless meaning. To reclaim that meaning, we must begin by redefining what it means to reveal. The word itself suggests exposure, an unveiling of something hidden, but perhaps the most powerful reveals are not those that expose to others, but those that illuminate within. The uncommon gender reveal, then, is not a matter of grander gestures or bolder ideas, but of deeper intention. It is an inward celebration, not an outward performance. Imagine, for instance, a reveal without an audience, just two parents sitting beneath a tree, reading a letter written to the life they've created. No cameras, no spectacle, only presence. In that quiet, the act becomes sacred again. The moment becomes its own meaning. Writing a letter to the unborn child, sealing it in a time capsule, to be opened when they come of age, is more than sentiment. It is the acknowledgement of continuity. It tells the child, years later, you were awaited not as content, but as mystery. Not as a performance, but as a promise. In that letter, the parent reveals not gender, but gratitude, a confession of the fears, hopes, and awe that accompany creation itself. Or imagine planting a tree in place of a firework, a seed for a seed, life for life. The roots deepen as the child grows, silently marking time. Long after the party would have faded, the tree stands as witness, a living monument to the day something new entered the world. A reveal like this is not captured in a photo, it's captured in the earth. Others may choose to create something, a song, a piece of art, a story, to channel the energy of anticipation into expression, not explosion. When creation celebrates creation, the circle completes itself. In such gestures, the ritual becomes not about spectacle but about legacy. It is uncommon not because it defies expectation, but because it defies forgetfulness. The uncommon reveal, in truth, is a rebellion, a quiet resistance against the machinery of performance. It is an act of reclaiming authenticity in a world that rewards imitation. In choosing simplicity over spectacle, meaning over visibility, the parents declare something profoundly countercultural, that not every sacred thing must be seen to be real. But this is not to say that celebration must be stripped of beauty. Beauty, when grounded in intention, is sacred. The ancient world understood this. The dance, the drum, the painted symbol, all were forms of art meant to bridge the visible and the invisible. The difference was that those acts served meaning, not vanity. Today, the uncommon gender reveal asks the same question. Can beauty serve depth again? Can we celebrate without performing? We can, if we remember that joy is not measured in spectacle but in sincerity. A quiet ritual, shared between loved ones, can carry more power than the loudest explosion. There is no algorithm for authenticity. The rarest kind of celebration is the one that resists documentation, that exists only in memory, felt rather than displayed. In the psychology of ritual, meaning emerges from participation, not observation. To truly celebrate, one must be in the moment, not outside of it recording. The uncommon reveal returns to that principle. It invites us to experience, rather than exhibit, to reveal not for others, but for ourselves. We live in an era where everything is performative: love, grief, happiness, even the act of kindness. The uncommon gender reveal becomes, therefore, a quiet revolution against performativity itself. It says, this life, this love, this moment, it is enough, even if unseen, especially if unseen. In a sense, the most profound reveals are not physical at all. They are internal transformations. The realization that a new life means an ending, to the ending of who we were before parenthood. The revelation that to create life is to accept mortality, to surrender to uncertainty. These are the true unveilings that no balloon or powder can capture. And perhaps this is what we have forgotten, that rituals were never meant to entertain. They were meant to awaken. The ancient Greeks held mystery rites not to reveal secrets to the public, but to guide individuals toward inner revelation. The reveal was symbolic, not literal. It was a journey inward, a confrontation with meaning. In that spirit, the uncommon gender reveal could become a modern mystery, right? Not of gender, but of humanity. An opportunity to ask deeper questions. What does it mean to bring life into a fragmented world? How do we prepare to guide a soul through chaos? What do we hope this new being will inherit, our habits or our wisdom? When such questions are asked, the reveal transforms from a countdown to a contemplation. The smoke fades, but the reflection remains. It might seem strange to think of a simple celebration as philosophy, yet that is precisely what ritual once was. Philosophy in motion, a way to think through action. The uncommon gender reveal can return to that essence, if we let it. If we remember that we are not just revealing color, but revealing consciousness. In choosing meaning over performance, we take back what was lost to commercialization, the intimacy, the reflection, the quiet awe of creation. We remind ourselves that celebration is not about outdoing others, but about honoring what is sacred in life. And in doing so, we redefine what uncommon really means. It is not rare because it is novel, but because it is sincere. Not because it surprises others, but because it awakens something within us. In a world addicted to spectacle, the most uncommon thing we can do is be genuine. Because long after the smoke has cleared and the colors have faded, what endures is not what was revealed, but how we revealed, not in noise, but in meaning. Not for applause, but for love. Not to impress the world, but to remind ourselves that even in the smallest gestures, the sacred still lives. And perhaps that is the truest reveal of all. We live in an age where celebration has been severed from intimacy, where the act of marking a moment has been repurposed for consumption. What was once a family ritual is now a public performance, rehearsed and broadcast for an invisible audience. The gender reveal, once a symbol of anticipation and love, has become a mirror, reflecting back not who we are, but who we want others to think we are. In the architecture of modern life, social media has replaced the village. We no longer gather around fires, we gather around screens. Each like, each share, each comment forms a digital applause, an echo chamber that convinces us we are seen, even when we are not known. In this world, celebration mutates into performance, and performance into identity. The psychology of this transformation runs deep. We have entered what sociologists call the spectacle society, a concept explored by the French theorist Guy Debord. He wrote, "Everything that was directly lived has moved away into a representation. In simpler terms, we no longer live experiences. We produce them." The gender reveal is one of the most revealing examples of this shift. What began as a simple expression of joy is now an arena of social validation. It's not enough to celebrate, we must document the celebration. It's not enough to know, others must know that we know. The moment becomes evidence, proof of happiness, proof of belonging, proof that we are doing life right. But here lies the paradox. The more we perform happiness, the less we feel it. The performance becomes the experience. Parents become directors of their own personal cinema, orchestrating scenes of joy that are meticulously edited for public consumption. The explosion of color, the coordinated cheers, the drone footage, all carefully designed to simulate authenticity. And yet, beneath the confetti lies a quiet emptiness. Because the more a celebration is performed for others, the less it belongs to those within it. The joy becomes fragmented, divided between the real and the recorded. The event itself becomes secondary to its digital afterlife. Psychologically, this is the cost of spectacle. When we begin to measure meaning through visibility, we lose connection to our own emotions. The reveal becomes a ritual not of intimacy, but of affirmation, a search not for understanding, but for attention. In this way, the celebration becomes an act of self-advertisement, a curated reflection of happiness. We are, as the philosopher Erich Fromm might say, consuming experiences instead of living them. Each reveal becomes a product, each moment another offering to the altar of visibility. The colors, the music, the dramatic countdowns, all choreographed not for the child, but for the collective gaze. But the social mirror is a dangerous place to seek meaning. Mirrors reflect, but they also distort. The more we depend on them to define us, the more fragile our sense of reality becomes. In the gender reveal's most extreme cases, wildfire started, lives lost. We see how far performance can spiral when meaning gives way to validation. In those moments, the celebration becomes a tragedy, and the mirror cracks. Still, it would be unfair to say the impulse to share joy is wrong. Humans have always been communal creatures. Celebration is meant to be shared. Joy thrives in connection. The problem lies not in sharing, but in substituting sharing for performance. When the act of connection becomes mediated by algorithms and aesthetics, it stops being real. The social mirror rewards visibility, not sincerity. It amplifies the loudest, not the most meaningful. And so we adapt, consciously or not, shaping our rituals to fit the frame, editing our joy to be digestible, our emotions to be marketable. The uncommon gender reveal, then, is not just a creative act, it is a refusal to perform intimacy, a refusal to let the mirror dictate meaning. To reclaim the reveal is to step outside the frame, to resist the compulsion to record and instead experience. It is to turn the lens inward, to ask, why do we need to be seen to feel real? Why must every sacred moment be validated by strangers? This is not a question of technology, but of psychology. The hunger for attention masks a deeper hunger for connection. The reveal becomes an unconscious cry, see me, understand me, affirm me. But no amount of digital applause can replace the quiet recognition of genuine presence. In this sense, the social mirror is not evil, it is a symptom of an age where solitude is feared, where silence feels like invisibility, where we confuse observation with belonging. The uncommon gender reveal offers a different reflection, one not projected outward, but discovered inward. Imagine, for instance, a celebration that is not filmed, not shared, not posted, yet remains unforgettable. The absence of recording intensifies presence. Without a screen between the moment and the memory, emotion becomes sharper, truer. In that stillness, the mirror fades, and what remains is real. This is the paradox of our time. In trying to capture every moment, we lose the ability to live it. The uncommon reveal, by contrast, is about surrender, about letting go of the need to be seen and allowing meaning to exist quietly, unrecorded. Perhaps, in the end, the social mirror doesn't need to be smashed, only turned inward, toward reflection rather than projection. When we stop performing for the world, we begin to see ourselves again. And in that recognition, celebration returns to its original form, an act of gratitude, not display, of connection, not validation. Because the most profound reveal does not happen on camera. It happens in silence when we realize that joy, like love, does not need to be witnessed to be real. For centuries, we've wrapped the mystery of birth in colors. Pink and blue, two hues, two destinies. It was simple, comforting, a world divided neatly into halves. But simplicity often hides complexity, and comfort often hides fear. Behind these colors lies not just tradition, but the human need for order, for knowing where everything belongs. The moment we assign color, we assign meaning. Blue becomes strength, pink becomes tenderness. These colors do not describe the child, they describe our expectations. A son must grow into confidence. A daughter must embody grace. And so, from the very beginning, life is framed not as it is, but as we wish it to be. But the world has changed. Or perhaps it is we who are finally learning to see it differently. Gender, once considered fixed, now unfolds as a spectrum, a living continuum of expression, biology, and identity. To understand this is not to reject the past, but to outgrow it. To see that pink and blue were never opposites, only symbols in a story too small for human complexity. Psychologically, our need to categorize runs deep. Carl Jung described this as the archetypal impulse, the mind's desire to impose order upon chaos. We divide, label, and separate because the unknown terrifies us. When we announce it's a boy or it's a girl, we are not only describing biology, we are declaring certainty in an uncertain world. It gives us comfort, like naming a storm. But beneath that comfort lies something else, the illusion of control. In truth, we do not reveal gender, we reveal our longing for definition. We reveal our fear of the unpredictable, of the child who might one day challenge our expectations. The color-coded smoke becomes a charm against uncertainty, a ritual designed to reassure us that life can still be scripted. Yet, life defies scripts. It always has. As the 21st century unfolds, gender, once a social cornerstone, has begun to dissolve into something fluid, personal, and infinitely varied. The rise of non-binary, transgender, and gender-fluid identities is not a rebellion against nature, but a recognition of it. Nature has never been binary. Across species, diversity of sex and expression exists everywhere, from clownfish that change sex, to birds where males nurture and females hunt. The binary was never biological, it was psychological. Society, however, resists such revelations. Certainty feels safe, ambiguity feels dangerous, but perhaps danger is precisely where growth begins. When we allow gender to exist as a conversation rather than a category, we open the door to deeper understanding not only of others, but of ourselves. Philosophically, this is an evolution of consciousness. The binary lens was necessary once. It helped humanity organize reality, build roles, structure tribes, but as our minds expand, so must our metaphors. Boy or girl was once a question of nature. Now it is a question of narrative. Who decides what these words mean? Who benefits from their limits? To see beyond pink and blue is to step into uncertainty and therefore into freedom. Freedom for the child to define themselves. Freedom for the parent to let go of the illusion of authorship. A child is not a canvas for projection. They are a universe unfolding. When we insist on pink or blue, we paint over the stars. The uncommon gender reveal, then, becomes something else entirely. Not a declaration, but a meditation. Not an answer, but a question. What does it mean to welcome life? Not as we expect it, but as it truly is. Some families have begun to reinvent the ritual. Instead of revealing a color, they reveal a promise. A promise to protect authenticity, to nurture curiosity, to honor whatever identity emerges. Others celebrate through symbols that transcend gender. The planting of a tree, representing growth. The lighting of a candle, representing consciousness. The weaving of a cloth, representing the threads of possibility. These acts are more than gestures. They are acts of humility. They acknowledge what every parent must eventually face, that love is not control. The child is not ours to define, only ours to discover. From a psychological perspective, this shift mirrors a larger movement from external control to internal understanding. The old paradigm defined identity through conformity. To be real was to fit. The new paradigm defines it through authenticity. To be real is to feel. In this sense, the evolution of gender is not a cultural war, but a spiritual awakening. It calls us to rethink what it means to reveal. To reveal, after all, means to uncover what was hidden. But gender, as we now know, is not hidden. It is becoming. It unfolds. It shifts. It reveals itself through time. The true reveal then is not the explosion of color, but the gradual unveiling of a human soul. If we look closely, this isn't new wisdom. Ancient cultures often understood fluidity far better than we do today. In India, the concept of Ardhanarishvar, a deity half male, half female, symbolized the unity of opposites within the divine. Among Native American tribes, two-spirit people were revered as bridge builders between worlds. The modern obsession with the binary is, in many ways, an amnesia, a forgetting of what humanity once knew. And so, as we move forward, perhaps the uncommon gender reveal is not about innovation, but restoration, restoring depth to what has become shallow, meaning to what has become mechanical, humanity to what has become performative. To reveal, in its truest sense, is to witness. To witness without judgment, to see without defining, to celebrate without controlling. Imagine a future where parents gather not to announce gender, but to speak a truth. We don't know who this child will be, and that's beautiful. Imagine a culture where the colors of celebration are not pink or blue, but infinite, representing possibility itself. That is the uncommon reveal. Not a performance, but a prayer. A moment that says, this life is not a label, but a light, and we are here not to define it, but to let it shine. In that sense, beyond pink and blue lies not confusion, but clarity. The clarity that comes when we stop trying to divide the world and begin to understand it. When we stop asking, what will they be, and start asking, who will they become? Because perhaps the greatest reveal is not about gender at all. It is about the human condition, our endless need to name the unknown, and the deeper wisdom that arises when we learn to let it be unnamed. When the colors fade and the smoke clears, what remains is what was always there, a new soul entering a complex world. And maybe the only color that truly matters is the one invisible to the eye, the quiet, radiant glow of possibility. The field is quiet now. The smoke that once danced in pink and blue has faded into the pale breath of morning. The echoes of laughter, the crack of the confetti cannon, the hum of phone cameras all have dissolved into silence. What remains is something softer, something more honest. When the noise fades, what we're left with is the truth. That every ritual, no matter how modern or ancient, begins with the same yearning to find meaning in the mystery of life. The gender reveal was never truly about color. It was about connection, about the human need to turn the chaos of creation into a moment we can hold, understand, and celebrate. But somewhere along the way, the ritual forgot its roots. The celebration turned outward, the meaning turned into marketing, and the miracle of life became a canvas for attention. We turned intimacy into entertainment, mystery into spectacle. Yet even in that distortion, the spark of something real remained, a longing to touch what is sacred. And perhaps that is what every ritual, no matter how misguided, reveals about us. Beneath our obsession with performance lies a deeper desire to belong, to matter, to be seen not through screens but through eyes that understand. In the end, the uncommon gender reveal is not about reinventing tradition, it's about remembering humanity. Remembering that the greatest reveals don't explode, they unfold. They happen in quiet rooms, in heartbeat rhythms, in whispered hopes for a child we've yet to meet. They happen when a parent feels the first kick and realizes that this tiny life will one day have dreams, fears, and questions of their own. When we strip away the noise, what remains is not an announcement, but an awakening. A reminder that creation is not ours to control, that every new life is not a continuation of us, but a new story entirely, one that we are invited to witness, not write. Psychologically, this is the most profound shift a human can experience. Moving from projection to presence. To look at a child not as a reflection of who we are, but as a revelation of what it means to be human. The moment we stop asking what they will be and instead ask who they will become, we step into the true meaning of parenthood, of love, of legacy. Philosophers and mystics have always known this truth. The Stoics called it amore fati, the love of fate. The Buddhists called it acceptance of impermanence. Both speak of the same wisdom, that to live fully, we must release control. To love deeply, we must surrender expectation. In this way, the uncommon gender reveal becomes a symbol not of rebellion against tradition, but of return. A return to humility, to awe, to the sacred recognition that every birth is an act of creation we can never truly comprehend. Imagine, for a moment, standing in that field again, not with fireworks, but with silence. Not with cameras, but with presence. The air is still, the light is soft, and in your hands rests the weight of tomorrow, a name not yet spoken, a future not yet shaped. You breathe, and in that breath, you understand. This is the reveal. Not of gender, but of grace. Because life, in its truest form, is not defined by the colors we assign to it. It is defined by the courage to let it be what it will be. The smoke was always meant to fade. The noise was always meant to end. What endures is the light within it, the quiet truth that every child, every ritual, every celebration is a mirror reflecting who we are and what we value most. The uncommon reveal, then, is not about doing something different. It is about seeing differently. About recognizing that the most extraordinary moments are not the ones that go viral, but the ones that go inward. As the last traces of color dissolve into dawn, the voice within us whispers, maybe the greatest reveal isn't pink or blue. Maybe it's realizing that every new life reveals something about who we are and who we still hope to become. And in that moment, under the vast sky of quiet revelation, we understand that the ritual was never about the smoke. It was about the light that remained when it cleared. That light, the one within the smoke, within the child, within ourselves, has always been the true reveal.